Afternoon, been a busy 3 weeks for us, just to get to this point. There's a lot that goes into it, about 5 days of kind of program meetings, if you will, staff stuff, local media day, ACC media day, ladies clinic, just a lot going on. And then the last 2 days, just a ton of administrative and program meetings with our team. There's a lot of things that, we need to make sure everybody's on the same page with before we, get to football. We've got all that behind us, and the team's done a great job as far as preparing to get to this point, and staff's done a great job as well. Now it's time to get back on the grass and get to work, and start the football preparation part to get ready to go play a game. This is a fun time of year. The season's not starting right now. The season started in January. This is just kind of the third quarter of this of our journey, of our 2025 journey, as we head into what we call the prime time phase. We have our get ready phase, our transformation phase, and we're going into the prime time phase, and it all builds to this. But this is the performance time. This is the time where you only get a few days to play the game, and this is when those days present themselves. And so excited about getting on the field and getting out there as a team and pushing forward, just one day at a time. I know you guys are probably all interested in just where we are from a health standpoint as we get going. The only real long-term injury is we got a young linebacker named Billy Wilkes. He tore his ACL in the spring game, so he's a kind of the only long-term guy. You'll see some guys that are in green jersey today that are really doing great, and they're just kind of in a ramp-up phase as far as when they'll be fully released to do everything. And again, if you're in green, you're in practice. Green just means we're not going to have any live contact. They're going to do all the work. We're just going to have avoid the live stuff with them. But Jay Haynes, Armand Mason, and Ari Watford and Watson Young, those guys will be rolling pretty quickly. I think Watson actually is going to be full go tomorrow. But those other 3 guys are all doing good. They're doing really well. So we've just got a good plan with our medical staff as far as their ramp up into full go. And then some guys that are in yellow today: Olson, Pat Henry, Juju Preston, and Peyton Strecco. Not long term, but just out for a few days here or there. Olson had to have his tonsils out, so he's probably going to be a couple of days late before he can get going. Just something that he needed to go ahead and do, so it's not something he's having to deal with during the season. Juju's battling a little hamstring, and then Strecco's battling just a little shin pain. But so they're short term. It could be 2 weeks, could be 6 weeks, but that's kind of a short term thing. So Billy Wilkes is the only long term guy at this point. So we're in a good spot. We got. For the first time, for this year, we're actually get a chance to be a complete team getting out on the field. So that'd be a lot of fun. All right, so that's just a little update for us, health and stuff, and kind of status of what's been going on the last few weeks. And now it's go time. We got a good plan as far as how we go about our business and how we ramp up practice-wise today, Friday, Saturday. We won't go more than 3 days as far as on our legs. At a minimum every 4th day. It'll be might just be meetings. We'll do something, but not necessarily on the field. So, for example, we got this week Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Sunday is just meetings. There won't be any practice. We'll go Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday will be a all meeting day, and we'll have a little team outing, and then Friday, Saturday, Sunday will be pictures. I think we're doing fan day. Are we doing that?
The donor event.
The donor event. Okay. So we're doing that, and then we'll get into that last week of camp. So we got a good plan to get them ready, and these first between now and next Wednesday is what we call acclimatization. So it's all structured and I'm looking forward to it. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Got a good group, got a lot of energy to them, got a lot of good experience. We've got a lot of work to do.
Coach, you already had a great quarterback room. Now Hunter Helms is back. How did that all come about, and what does he bring to the room?
Yeah, I mean, Hunter just, he wants to coach, and when he left to go play last year, he told me that, and I said, well, just get around, let him know. So he was coming back as an intern, and just, honestly, I didn't even know he had another year of eligibility. Just, why not put him? Why not have him on the roster, right? Like, he's coaching. I mean, he's doing Paul Tyson. He's in staff meetings. He's in all the coaching mode, but we'll keep him lathered up too. I mean, he's a pretty experienced kid who's played some football that really, doesn't need a lot of reps and could go and execute at a high level for you if you had to have him. So we really love our quarterback room, but it's just kind of, like I said, one of those things that kind of kick yourself if you didn't. I've been there, right? Like, I mean, the national championship in 18, I love to tell everybody and remind everybody, we had Trevor Lawrence, Chase Price, and my third team quarterback was Hunter Renfrow. And my fourth team was Will Spires, the punter. That was our roster. That's where we were. In fact, in the Syracuse game, when Trevor got knocked out, because I had moved that week, I moved Hunter to the quarterback room and Will, took him out of the receiver room, and I'll never forget Hunter coming up to me when Trevor got knocked out and chased up. He came, he goes, "Does this mean I'm the backup now?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "I just hope you don't have to throw it to yourself." But anyway, fun moment, or a really bad moment.
If you've addressed this, I'm sorry, but with the 105 now, to you, when is that 105? When is that like, hey, I have 105 scholarships now?
Yeah.
Is it now January? Do you start giving them the walk? Like, how's that going to work for you?
Yeah. So for us, and probably for most, everybody, you have a lot of guys, and so for us, this first year in particular, we kind of have recruited our roster to where it is, but there's a lot of kids that we were going to keep. So, we got a lot of guys that were on our roster that you're not going to have 105 Wescos. First of all, you can't pay them all, and they're not going to stay. So you have to build your roster. You got to have a little bit of everything. So you're 85, you're 105, and you got to have guys that you think can develop, guys that can help you. But we got a lot of those guys on this team, a bunch of them that have roles. Are snappers. We've got Fletcher Cothran, Griffin Bag. Got some of these guys y'all may or may not know, guys that have played for us that we know we want to keep. Parker Fulgham, these are guys, Clark, these are kids that we are like, they could develop, and you need some developmental guys as a part of your roster. But when they grandfathered everybody, we just designated everybody to protect everybody. Because if you're not designated, then because if you wanted to leave and go play somewhere or something, you couldn't. So it'll phase down pretty quickly over the next 3 years to 105. But as our roster matriculates out, like we've got some seniors, guys that have been in our program that we'll put in the 105 this year, and as they graduate, well, now you can't go get a kid to walk on. So you got to go find guys that are, maybe they're preferred walk-on type guys, or they're borderline guys. So it'll be changing every year. But we don't have to technically declare the 105 until the week of the LSU game. But we know, who those guys are. Like Paige Strecco, like he's a kid we want to keep in our program. Like we want to keep this kid. We've got guys like that that are all throughout, and then we got the guys that are pretty much just the true walk-on guys that we're thankful that we're able to have them. I think we're going to be at like 126, and that because some of the kids came back. Like Peter Nern, Zach Jackson, Dominique Cardoni, those guys all came back. They all moved on because they thought their career was over and they weren't going to be in 105. So because we originally, remember, we were going to be at 105, like nobody else on your roster. And so then they came back and said, we'll grandfather everybody who was on your roster last year or could have been on your roster this year. So you know, we had some walk-on guys, inventory guys that had tried out and stuff, so we were able to bring a few of them out. We got some guys to come back, and so they can be on the roster until their eligibility's up. But some of them, like I said, they had moved on because they knew they weren't going to be in the 105. And I mean, you're talking about mat drills and spring ball and all this stuff, and you know, so there was a few of them that when we reached back out, hey, they're going to grandfather, y'all want to come back because we need you. And I'm so thankful that those guys chose to come back and be a part of our program. Tristan Martinez, I mean, and then we had a couple kids like Sam Earl, Max Wilson, you know, Seth Carranzas. We had some of those kids that came out in the spring, and we told them straight up, you got zero chance of being on 105. But boy, we sure could use you. If you want to Jack Perkerson, like we're like, hey, you guys want to just go through mat drills and I said, now if you go, you can be on the team, 'cause you got to do everything. You know, but and you're going, and I just want you to know with clear eyes, you're going to do all this, but you're going to be cut the week of the LSU game. But you get to be a part of it between now and then. If you want to do that, hey, you can come on out. And the cool thing about those kids is because they did something with no guarantees that was really, really hard, they created opportunity for themselves in life. Because if they not done that, they wouldn't be on the team now. And so that's a cool lesson for them, you know, moving through their life. Like, they chose to do something really hard that had absolutely no guarantees to it, and now they get to be on the team, and they're grandfathered in until their eligibility's up. So it's cool. So hey, you know, that's where we are. But like I said, we know who our 105 is, and you know, there might be a couple kids over the next couple of years that get bumped up into that, but you know, we'll have to recruit to that. As we go through it, you've got a number. Now that you're at 105, your number changes at every position. So if your number's 15 at receiver, well, again, you're not going to have 15 TJ Moores. That's not reality. But you got to go recruit them. So you got to put your number together somehow. So you'll have a combination of what that will look like.
Did you say Olsen Pat could be out 6 weeks?
No. He's just a couple days. He had his tonsils out. No, I said like Strecco, Juju, and Strecco, Juju.
Oh, okay.
They could be, you know, 2 to 6 weeks, just depending. But no, Olsen just a couple days. He just a couple. They had to hold him because he just had his tonsils out. So hopefully he'll be, you know, hopefully by Monday he's up there rolling.
Takeaways from the big weigh-in yesterday. Anybody that stood out to you?
I mean, there were a bunch of kids, honestly, that stood out. I mean, I could tell that the guys have really bought in. There was a lot of guys that have changed their bodies. I mean, a guy like Strozier, I mean, he's really, you can just obviously tell he's thicker. How about Cade Klubnik? Yeah, he's 175 pounds. He's out here. He's 212 yesterday. I mean, he looks great. You know, he'll probably settle out in that 208 range, 209, you know, when he gets through camp. But he's got a great foundation going into camp. And we had a bunch of linemen that looked really, really good. I mean, a guy like K Park, man, he looked, I mean, just, there was a bunch of guys that really jumped out to me, and it's just obvious that they've really been committed. You know, because again, you don't just show up on a day like that and be elite. You know, you got to do a lot of work to get to that point. And I think our entire team really bought into what they had to do individually to come back and not necessarily be the final version, but the best version of themselves since they've been at Clemson. And you know, so it's a good group.
Just to clarify on Jay Haynes, what are reasonable expectations for him? Could he be available week 1?
Yeah, that's all. I mean, that's all up to the medical team. I mean, he's in green. He and Armand and Ari, and they're again all doing great. But I mean, you know, I don't know. I mean, it just depends on. We got to get out there and get going and get practicing. But he's in green right out of the gate, so that means he's in practice, and it'll be up to the doctors and medical team when they say, hey, he's full go. Could be next week. Could be the first game. Could be game 3. I have no idea how these guys are gonna, you know, show up and respond. I mean, I just know where he's at, and I know that he's they're in a really good spot. They wouldn't put him in green if he wasn't ready to go. He'd be out there in yellow. So he's in a good spot when it comes to his you know, his return to play protocol. But I don't have anything to do with that, and I have no way of answering that. I have seen nothing on the field with him, but I just know what they say, and those guys are doing great and on their way. we'll get them back at some point. So they're day to day.
I guess, what do you think about the reports weekly? Is that going to simplify things?
I mean, you know, we did that. I don't even know what year we did that. We did that somewhere along the way. We did it for a long time. Is that when we stopped doing it? COVID?
It predated me, so I think it was like 16 or 17.
I don't know. There was somewhere. You know, you stay somewhere long enough, it'll come back around, right? You know, it's like short shorts and mullets. You just hang around and come back. You know, so I mean, I don't know. What is it? Doubtful, probable, out,
Questionable.
Questionable. I mean, it don't really change anything to me. Day to day, I mean, we'll figure it out when we get to it. But no, I don't have a problem with it. I mean, as long as everybody else is doing that stuff, I don't have a problem with it at all.
We've done game day availability for 5 years.
Yeah, we've always done the game day stuff, so no big deal to me. Just, you know, Ross will tell me, and we'll do it in our Thursday staff meeting. I'm sure, like we go over Ranger stuff every morning. So Thursdays, I think is that Thursday?
Thursday,
So
Friday,
we'll have to do
Saturday.
something on Thursday. So we'll decide, and then we'll go from there. But yeah, no big deal.
What has stood out from Coach Allen over the last 7 months, 6-7 months, and what are we going to see this fall might be a little bit different than what we've seen the last?
Same guy every day. I mean, you know, that's the main thing I would say. I've seen the same guy every day, a ton of energy. He's incredibly organized, incredibly passionate about you know, what he does, and I just think he's done an awesome job creating the buy-in with the staff, leading the staff, and you know, just really you know, leading the defense and setting the tone for what it needs to look like. So, you know, that's it. I mean, he's done a great job, and again, detailed, organized, ton of energy, and again, just really has led at a high level for us. So that's been exciting to see that, and you know, I think you'll see a lot of consistency, you know, from that group. Certainly got a tough opener. You know, it ain't patty cake right out of the gate, but it's exciting, you know. And but I think when it's all said and done, it'll be a staff and a defense that'll be very consistent when the season comes to an end.
What's your take on the nickel Sam position and sort of what you're hoping to see? Who you're hoping to see emerge there?
I mean, it all depends. I mean, you know, a lot of that is who you're playing. What does their personnel look like? You know, are they 12 personnel? Are they 11 personnel? Are they 10 personnel? Is their best receiver a slot guy? You know, I think all of those things dictate, you know, who you put on the field. So I think, I mean, offense decides who they're putting out there, and then defensively, you got to respond to that. So I think the main thing for us is making sure we come out of camp with an answer. Who's our big nickel? You know, who's our true? We call it tiger. We call it the tiger position. Who's our you know, kind of every down tiger, and who's our best cover tiger? You know, what I would call a true nickel corner. You know, if you will. So I think it just all depends on who you're playing and what to make. But we need answers, and we've got to have some flexibility. And I think that's been something we've talked a lot about in the spring and worked hard on. And we got, good news is we got, you know, a lot of really good candidates, a lot of good depth, and a lot of options for whatever presents itself to us to be able to game plan appropriately.
Jeremiah Alexander be a every down Tiger?
And I would say he's an every down Tiger. I mean, he certainly could, as far as play the position, but you know, you're not going to ask him to, you know, play man coverage on Antonio Williams. You know, so I mean, again, it all goes back to who's on the field and what you're asking them to do. And then, you know, what are you doing in game plan that week? Are you coverage? Are you a lot of coverage? Are you high pressures? You know, are you going to play a lot of man that week? Like what's the game plan? I think that again dictates, you know, how you push personnel on the field.
I guess to expound on Jeremiah, TJ and Peter talked a lot about his work ethic just in terms of being here at like 5 in the morning, leaving at 8 p.m. Like, how much has he even gone above and beyond what you would expect in terms of his work ethic?
if everybody worked like Jeremiah Alexander, this would be the easiest job in America. I mean, he's unbelievable. I mean, and you just pull for a kid like that. Like, his commitment is, you know, like, here's what's expected. He's up here. I mean, he's just a phenomenal young man. You know, great parents. He's a graduate already, and he's got 2 years of eligibility. And I'm excited. I'm so glad he's here. You know, we've got he gives us you know, we needed another veteran guy. We got a lot of young guys. We needed another like real veteran guy. Even though he hadn't played a lot, you know, he's had some injuries and stuff, but man, he is just he has truly been committed. He's been above and beyond in everything that's been asked of him. So excited to see him get out there and get to work, and you know, we need some depth. We know what we got in Sammy and Wade, obviously. You know, those guys are proven guys for us here, and man, Jeremiah has done everything he can within his power to you know, give himself the best chance to go compete. You know, learning a new system, you know, being in elite shape. He's just a grinder, man. The guy wants it, and just, you know, he's one of those type of people that you really pull for because he's done the work.
Coach, everybody knows about the returning production you have at wide receiver, but guys like Tyler Brown, Cole Turner, who have battled injuries, what are you hoping to see from them in camp?
Just health, good health, you know, consistent availability, and I think if we get that from those guys, they'll have consistent production. You know, really confident guys. Really proud of those guys. I mean, they've been starters, you know, so they get it. I mean, we've got, like I told y'all, we went in the spring with 5 guys that we absolutely know can play winning football as a starter for us, and we came out with 6 because Tristan really kind of jumped into that mix. So love our depth there, and we've got the experience to go with it, which is awesome. You know, this time last year, got guys hurt, new guys kept ready to play. So we're still in a different place, but Cole and Tyler are going to be critical to our success this year. So if you ask me what I'm looking for, they'll do the football part. I just consistent availability, you know, and just having their best fall camp, you know, and staying healthy.
You said you see Ashton Hampton moving around a lot at different positions over his career. Do you see him this early sticking at corner or being flexible enough to move around?
Yeah, we'll see. But, you know, a lot of that depends on, again, who's the best players. You know, we got some questions to answer. Who's the best players? And is it another corner that needs to be on the field? Is it another safety that needs to be on the field? Those are all questions that you figure out as you go through camp. I mean, but as a football player, Ashton can do a lot of things. There's no doubt about it. And we really kind of locked him in at corner last year. And I think that's where he'll start out, and we'll go from there. We'll just see. And again, that's a week-to-week thing. Like, you know, end of the day, you want to get the best players you can on the field. But as far as the longevity of his career, as he goes through his career, not just here, but you know, beyond here, I mean, I think he'll end up playing a lot of positions as he really becomes really confident in the game and just continues to mature as a player. He's a unique talent.
With Corey Gibson, what are the next steps for his progression?
It's kind of what I said, Tyler and Cole, just be out there. You know, last year he was never healthy, so he really couldn't. He just kind of stayed the same all year because he was just kind of he didn't have confidence. He was not healthy. He was just kind of working his way back. Really saw a light come on this spring. It's the first time since he'd gotten here that I actually saw him healthy. And so the next step for him is to, you know, get out there and play with the confidence that he's got to have. And I think to have that confidence, you've got to be healthy. And he is. He feels great. He looks great. And he really grew a lot in this off season as far as just his maturity. So you just got to go do it. You know, just one day at a time. He's super talented. We all know that. But this is really the first time that he's the best version of himself since he got here. But this is the first time that I think he's a complete player. There's been something missing since the day he got here. You know, he had knowledge, he wasn't healthy, you know, a lot of stuff, but he's very comfortable, he's healthy, he's so much more knowledgeable, and you know, so now he just got to show up and do the work every day and at a consistent level. If he does that, he'll be able to compete with anybody.
With a guy like Ian Sheffman, his first time out there on the field, I guess, do you expect him to have a learning curve when
Who was that again?
Ian Sheffman.
Oh, Chef?
Yeah, do you think he'll have a learning curve going from basketball going to football for his first practice?
Absolutely. He's going to have a huge learning curve. Yeah, especially when Peter Woods runs through his chin strap. You know, he's going to have a quick learning curve when he runs that swap zone and kicks out T.J. Parker. So yeah, I mean, hadn't played football since the 10th grade, so it's been a while. But this is a high level athlete now. This is a highly competitive dude. I'm really proud of him. It's been fun to just kind of watch him blend in and just kind of, you know, you go from a group of about 15 to 125 people, and just a lot. There's a lot to manage when you got that many people, and he's done great, man. He's done great. He's bought in. He's gotten stronger. He's really worked hard to give himself the best chance mentally to go compete. You know, I think he'll be fine when it comes to catching the ball and running routes. I think all that stuff will come pretty quick for him. But you know, you gotta take the physical parts of it. And so there's definitely going to be a learning curve. There's no doubt about it. But I think he's just who he is will shorten that.
From the spring, at your backup safety spots with Roman and Carlo, how close are they to kind of reaching the level where you kind of trust them, or they bridge the gap to getting some playing time in there?
They're all right there. I mean, it's going to be a weekly battle. We got some dudes at safety. I mean, we got some good football players. They all want to play. They're all very, very competitive. I mean, we got some experience. You know, we didn't move Ronan to safety until, you know, a week and a half before the first game last year, and he played last year, zero fundamentals, zero off season. Everything was receiver. So now he's had a season in the meeting rooms. He's had film study. He's had a spring. He's had off season. He's had individual work, drill work, et cetera, et cetera. He's just a different guy. And really, really talented. Ricardo, same thing. Really, really talented football player. Colin Griffin, you know, doesn't get enough credit. Very steady. He's got a lot of experience, and experience breeds confidence. You know, he's made some plays. I mean, and he's been a good work in progress. Obviously, Khalil has been a big time player for us. You know, T-Bone has played everywhere. And is a great guy, you know, for us as well. So I mean, it's just a group that, you know, Robert Billings, Colin Webb, we got a lot of guys that are kind of in the mix. Joe Wilkinson was 200 pounds yesterday. He's really, you know, developing. So we got some redshirt freshmen, we got some true freshmen like Keenan, who just got here, and then we got some sophomores, et cetera. It's a good group. It's going to be fun to see, but. You know, I think I'd say we probably got 5 guys going in. I think any of them could start. That are really, I think, right there going in. Somebody else may jump in that group, but I think for sure, you know, guys, like we got to play people, and we got to make sure that, you know, and I really believe that. Like, okay, if it's 50-50, like you just play them, right? Like, I mean, we've had that before. I mean, we had Vic Beasley and Shaq Lawson and Kevin Dodd and Tavares Barnes and Corey Crichton. We just played them. I mean, like, could rotate. I don't know. You know, it was really close. But only run one guy out there. But I do think, and I think that's what we have at receiver. And I think that, you know, if it's 70-30, then we got to do a good job of making sure that guy gets that 30. That creates competition. That creates development. That creates morale. And then the cumulative effect of that over the course of the season is important. But I think we've got, you know, a group of guys that maybe they're not all quite 50-50, but, you know, 60-40, and they're not far off from each other. So it'll be fun competition.
Kind of to that point, what's an ideal situation for the running back room? Are you hoping to see them now that maybe a guy is separated, or you perfectly fine with 2 or 3 guys rotating through to find that to be an ideal situation?
I think an ideal situation for me is they all show that they can do it. They all deserve to play. That'd be ideal for me. That we come out of camp going, geez, man, this is really hard. That's ideal for me. I really love. I know they're it's kind of the unknown factor, I guess, but we got some good players, some good guys right there. I think they're gonna do well.
When I spoke Vic Burley going into year 3, Coach Easton said he took a nice step forward this spring. And
He
this
did.
summer.
Yeah, be a redshirt sophomore. He same thing. Kind of had some struggles early on. Redshirted, missed a bunch of time, injuries, etc. And he just hadn't really been able to put it together with any type of consistency. And this spring was really the first time that you just saw it. And we go, okay, there it is. And we saw flashes, and then he was hurt, and then he would be out. Missed a lot of time. And so he's had a good spring and a good summer. So he's a redshirt sophomore, and he's the guy that we're counting on. We need him to take that next step for us this year. He can do it.
Frank Wisco with the weigh-in, did he
He was awesome.
progress the way that you wanted
Oh
him
yeah,
to?
yeah. He and TJ Moore. I mean, they're on their way to being grown men. They both look totally different than they did last year at this time, and in every aspect, physically, mentally. TJ had just got here this time last year. They had a lot to learn. So both those guys are in a good spot.
Coach, when you go into fall camp, what are your biggest goals or things that are top of mind to either address right away or get everything going in a positive direction to start?
Yeah, just our practice habits. How we practice. You don't create game habits on game day. Those what you do on game day is a reflection of how you practice. And so creating game habits at practice. And so that's just setting the tone for that. How you practice, how we prepare, how we meet. Also, how they recover, how they take care of their body. All of those things. Obviously, building team, that's a big part of camp. Because now you're getting ready to be together all day, every day, from morning until 10 o'clock at night. We're together every day, all day, for the next 2.5 weeks. There's no school, there's nothing, it's just football. And so the team aspect of it, making sure we come out of this thing, together. And then how to practice, like how to practice the right way against each other. That's also a big part, as we get going, early part of camp. Those are the main things. Just making sure that our conditioning is where it needs to be, etc. So that's always where it starts when we get out of camp. And and obviously you got the football stuff where you're going to get your installation in. You got to install your offense, install your defense, your kicking game. You really want to spend a lot of time, because you have a lot of time, on the fundamentals and techniques. The other thing is you want to evaluate your young guys. So it's the first time we've been on the field with a lot of these guys, and so we rep everybody. There's no clock when it comes to 20-hour rule and all that stuff. So we get everybody reps. So there's just a lot that you're trying to get done in a short amount of time. In these next couple of weeks, when we come into school that Wednesday, 10 days out or whatever, now it changes. Now your time changes, you're repping 2 groups, you've got scout teams, the whole deal. So we got a lot of decisions to make these next couple of weeks. But again, it just starts with the basics, how to practice, and again, the basics of what we do offensively, the base install, and then we go from there. Because you try to install as much as you can in fall camp, so that you can grab onto that. Not all for the first game, but it's game 4. But it's something that you installed in fall camp that you built a foundation with.
On that note, though, when you have such an experienced roster, so many guys on this team that have gone through several preseason camps, does it feel like you're starting steps ahead in terms of that preseason preparation?
Well, I mean, you have a bunch of guys that can do more, you know, day one, but you're only as good as your weakest link. So, you know, we start over every year, and you know, you gotta fall in love with the basics. You know, it's just that simple. You know, it doesn't matter if you've been here 4 years or whatever. It all starts with the basics, and that's what you got to be fanatical about. You know, because in the end, those are the things that win or lose for you. So, yeah, we got some guys that could go out there and play right now. You know, from a mental standpoint, ready to go. But you know, you're only as good as that weakest link. So we got to make sure that everybody is where they need to be.
What went into the decision to not publicize the results from the big weigh-in yesterday?
I didn't even know we printed that stuff. He asked me if I wanted it. I was like, did we put that out? And I was like, well, we don't need to put that out. Just let them ask me about it. So, you know, I know we've always videoed the whenever we started videoing stuff, but yeah, I didn't really see a need to put it out and send that to our opponents and all that stuff. Just let them keep guessing.
Larry,
But I'm happy to answer any questions.
you mentioned nickel before, talking to Jamal Anderson, who played last year 210 to 15. Where do you want him to be? Do you want him to fill in?
I think he was like 226 or something yesterday. He looked great. But you know, he just he missed all spring. You know, really wasn't out there. So it's a big year for him. We need him. You know, so he needs to jump in there at will and get ready to roll. He could play some Sam in certain personnel situations, but you know, we got him kind of penciled in there. I think he will see what he can do. You know, but the biggest thing is just getting out there going. He wasn't in a position to compete physically, and now he is. You know, he's not going to play linebacker for us at 200 pounds. You know, but he's done the work. He's put himself in a good spot, and you know, so now he's got a chance to go compete and see what he can do. Been a great special teams guy for us, but he needed a little girth. And so he's looked good. He's really done what he needs to do going into it.
Anyone else for Coach?
Coach, you go through some culture killers as you install the program, and I'm just curious if there was one that.
Didn't you just go from over there to now you're over here?
Yeah, I'm just trying to multitask.
Okay, you're multitasking. Okay, all right.
I saw you talking about the culture killers during the program installation. I'm curious if one stood out this year or one that you really focus on, and how you try to not have that creep in.
I focus on it. We spend, you know, it's part of our all-in meetings as a staff. We go through a lot. There's a lot of stuff that we cover, a lot of stuff that we talk about. You know, it's leadership, it's philosophy, it's motivation, inspiration, you name it. Learning lessons, etc. We go through a lot of things. You know, obviously in addition to our roster and football and all that stuff, but no, it's just part of our annual deal. It wasn't anything. We got a great culture, but I think it's one of those things you gotta work on daily. You know, that's part of, I call those meetings, that's our program installation and culture infusion, if you will. You know, to make sure that it's connected, that everybody understands, you know, who we are, you know, not just what we do, how we do it, but why we do it, the way we do it, and that we're all, you know, on the same page, and everybody knows what everybody's responsibility is, and it's a real A to Z, and that's just a part of the leadership development piece. There's a lot of leadership development that goes into that. So it's just a part of it.
Where do you see Elijah Thurman getting most of his reps?
He can play anywhere. I mean, he could start at guard. He could start at tackle. I mean, I think right out of the gate he'll probably try to battle at guard. You know, but I mean, he started left tackle for us last year. So he's also working at center. You know, he those of you who remember him in the recruiting process, he snapped some in high school too. So he's another guy that we're really developing across the board. But he can play anywhere. You know, and we're really fortunate from that standpoint because we got a couple of guys like that, like Sadler, Elijah. Those two guys, you know, could really play anywhere. You know, I think Sadler's been working on some snapping as well. Just trying to create as much depth as possible. But Sadler could go play left tackle, right tackle, left guard, right guard, and I'd put Elijah in the same category. So it gives us a lot of, because again, who's your best five? And in our case, we legitimately have 7 starters in the offensive line. Not like 7 guys that they have. These are 7 guys that absolutely can start for us. 7 guys that will play no matter who runs out there first. Day one. All right. I don't see any form or fashion unless somebody's hurt that those 7 guys don't play. So who's the 8th? I'd say Brady's right there. And then we kind of go from there. Dietrich and Wade and Easton, and we start getting into our younger guys. But I think we got a chance. I want us to come out of camp with 10, but we got 7 starters, and we just got to cross train some of them. And Sadler and Thurman are 2 guys that give us some opportunity. So we'll see how it goes.
In terms of Gideon Davidson, where do you think he grew the most during spring, or does he still have to grow?
Just knowledge. I mean, just first time getting here, just learning what to do, learning how to line up, learning what the protections are, learning what the language was. That's where he's grown the most. Physically, he's gifted. He showed up here that way. God blessed him, and he's just even better than he was physically because he's had a whole off season. So physically he's really gifted, but where he's grown the most is just mentally. Again, he's not running out there like he knows where to go line up today. He knows where Indy period. He knows what practice looks like. He's just mentally further along because he went through the spring. So that's a blessing for him. And as we get into our day one installation today, he's done it. He went through it in the spring. He went through it this summer. So this is his 3rd time to get installation. So just mentally, he's a lot further along. And what I want to see from him is, is he further along from a performance standpoint when it comes to really ownership of protections, really dialing in on that type of stuff.
Avion's still at 180-ish?
Yeah, he's somewhere in the 80s. Looks great. He's about 188, maybe, something like that.
Brian Wesco, 190.
Yep, he's 190-ish, 191, somewhere in there. Looks great. Yep.
Anyone else for Coach?
For a guy like Kobe, I think last year was in 20 guys, heavy packages on defense. I guess him recovering from ACL has kind of rebuilt his confidence in himself after his injury in the season.
Yeah, he's done well. He was out, all spring for sure, so he's been working his way back. But last year he was kind of in our top 4, group, and we had a lot of confidence in Kobe. But unfortunately, he got hurt, and just kind of had to start over from that standpoint. Go get healthy. So he didn't really. He got out there, I think, in some green jersey stuff this spring, but he wasn't getting the live stuff. So he's just gotta. He looks great. I mean, he looks great physically. He's strong. Kobe's a football dude. He don't say a whole lot, but he's a football guy. He understands the game. He's not as big as some people, but he really knows how to use what he has. I mean, he's a good football player. So, he's a guy that we need. He gives us another veteran guy. And so he's a guy that we need to step up and come through for us, because that's one of the goals that we got to achieve coming out of fall camp is the depth at linebacker. Like we got to walk out of camp, okay, hey, we got 5 guys that we can play and go get it done with. And then, okay, where's young Woodaz? He looks amazing, by the way. He's 220-something pounds. I mean, there ain't much difference between them. He looks great. But where's young Woodaz? Where's CJ Cooper-Taylor, who looks great? Where's he at? Logan Anderson. I can't wait to see Logan Anderson. He's the first time I've seen him. He's 200, I think he was 226, 227. He's a good football player. I've yet to see him take 1 rep because, he didn't get to practice this spring. So where are those guys? Well, we got to come out of camp really feeling good about, 5 or 6 guys. And we need Kobe to show he's one of those guys.
Anyone else? All right, thank you, Coach.
All right.
Thanks.